It is now recording. I need to turn that on.
I was gonna bourbon Mike right then and there,
Hmm.
but he didn't have it in me.
Yeah, so, first up.
Hold on, hold on.
Yes.
My mouse was off, that's why I couldn't see. I was like, hold on, where's my mouse? No, I even turned on. Okay, so is this a new Insecticon that they're revealing?
Yes, this is Barrage. He's part of what were a secondary grouping of Insecticons from the original toy line, but since they weren't being licensed by Takara, those molds, they couldn't put them in the show because Takara gave a fit when they had tried to put Jetfire in the original show. So
Right.
So they've kind of just been in limbo, and we don't expect that we'll ever get re-releases of the original figures, since another company that is in the U.S. technically has the molds now.
He kind of reminds me of those Beetleborgs from Power Rangers.
Something interesting I had seen noted. So he's actually using Bombshell's mold as a base.
Right.
His torso is actually backwards from how Bombshell's is.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's actually really neat because it does help distinguish the robot modes apart from each other even more.
Yeah. So that way they're not actually reusing the same mold.
They technically are, but it doesn't look as clearly like they are.
The same transformation mold, you know?
Yeah, they effectively are. You have to spin his torso around. You have to spin Bombshell's torso around with this mold. So you just skip a step there and then do whatever you need to do with this part to come out over his head to make this.
Okay.
But,
right.
But the point being, it ends up giving him some more individuality.
Yeah. Not that much, but it is there.
Yeah. Also, these are different.
So they're his back legs.
Yeah. Those are... I've noticed they have different back legs than the Insecticons had ended up getting. Or at least than one of the Insecticons that uses that mold had gotten, because I don't think Bombshell actually came with an extra set of back legs. I think that's just part of his... No, they're on his arm. Right, no, never mind. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I was blanking for a second. You see this here?
Yeah.
Those two green long parts attached to his gun, those are the molds of the original back legs of Bombshell.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That's why I blanked out for a second, because I forgot that's what those were. What those were. Since on this version they're all just the same color. On the Bombshell version, I'm pretty sure his gun is painted silver.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about that. Plus, I usually just keep them attached to the arms, so I wasn't thinking of that. But yeah, he does have back legs, but these are new back legs to also add some difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did not take the time and effort to end up actually putting together everyone, because a number of these are in sets together.
Oh, okay.
I did not take the time and effort to put them into the sets so that they go straight to the people who are in the set with them. So so I ended up just leaving it all based on alphabetical order. So I'll try and remember to call that whenever a thing is in a pairing or in a grouping.
Okay.
We have. So I mentioned that because here we have a guy called Blue Bolts.
He looks like a Rumble.
He kind of does.
Looks like.
He kind of does.
Like with the pile drivers and everything.
Yeah, he kind of does. I think originally he was just a weapon in that continuity's Ultra Magnus, and the designers of the HasLab were just like, let's make him a guy. Yeah. Unfortunately, the HasLab, I don't know that either of us are going to be able to make many comments on, because neither of us were really... I don't know that either of us have really watched the 2001 Robots in Disguise show.
I mean, I have, but I don't remember shit on that show.
I haven't yet. I just know small bits and pieces of things. It does kind of look like there's a face here, though. Just screaming in agony.
Like, oh. Oh.
Yeah. Admittedly, this also kind of looks like you have one of the cassettes, like for example, Rumble, just sitting on top of two pile drivers that are almost a little more like guns.
Or better yet, thrusters.
I must go on a journey.
I must go on a journey to teach other people the ways of Elvis Presley. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, man.
Next up we have Breakdown from Prime. I find something interesting with this design. You remember the Legacy Bulkhead mold?
Yeah.
They used the Legacy Bulkhead mold and just gave it a new head and have it as Breakdown, which I mean makes sense. Bulkhead and Breakdown are both the heavy hitting rivals of the Prime show. And I do at least like, hey, they're not doing the stupid shit with Prime Skyquake and Dreadwing here. Where it just looks more like Generation 1 Skyquake. So that's nice. Now, in this case, it just looks like you have a Generation 1 version of the Prime character instead of the Generation 1 version of the Generation 1 version, possibly doing a costume of the Prime character.
Yeah. So what does he turn into? Like what truck? What is that?
It's like a military truck.
Okay.
Yeah. With this like being the canvas or whatever backing covering the back. Oh yeah, we have Beast McDonald's Cheetor.
Yeah.
Who normally I don't include this kind of stuff where we don't have any official images because I would prefer to use official images, but this is just too funny not to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you showed this to me, you were literally in, like, a restaurant. Was it McDonald's, or was it some other restaurant?
Those were photos someone else had that I actually blanked the background out of.
Oh.
But
I thought you had this figure where you were, like, showing.
I do not. But honestly, with the Beast Machines, why would you try and do this? You have the smallest class with likely the smallest budget and the most over-complicated thing next to the live-action films.
Yeah.
You could have at least done Rat Trap. At least he's supposed to be that scale, so you'd have to do it at some point anyway. But no, they went with Cheetor.
And with this in the picture, I can imagine Rat Trap will be smaller, right?
Yeah, I suspect we're gonna get a proper scaled Cheetor from Beast Machines at some point. Probably not anytime soon. But yeah.
Hope not.
Yeah, the only character I specifically want to see from there is, I think it's Jetstorm. Yeah. The Mister sounds like he's trying to be a door-to-door salesman at every given second of the day. That guy. Just because he's the only fun part of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah. And then this. This giant feet.
No, he's holding cheetah feet. Look, you can see his hand holding the foot.
Yeah.
He's like,
pretend.
Yeah.
I was
He's
gonna
like,
say-
go ahead. Sorry, I keep.
That's fine. Okay. What I was gonna say was just how tiny and thin this is. You have these giant body elements, and then you have this tiny, thin tail.
Yeah. Like.
So what were you gonna say? Before we both were speaking on top of each other?
I was gonna say that this kind of looks like he's like hunting for cheetahs, so he's like disguised as a cheetah, and he's like using like fake cheetah teeth to like walk around, with like his back bent and his tail in the air.
It's like a less impressive version of Ace Ventura's, I think it was a rhino.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this just feels too... The legs just feel too big for such a tiny body on this thing.
Exactly.
Which is why, if they wanted to do this, they should have done it at a higher thing. Either like deluxe, like the Kingdom one, or a Voyager, so that you can do that extra engineering. Because you know they're gonna need a lot of extra engineering for the Beast Machines ones.
Yep.
There's no getting around that.
Mm-mm. No way, no how.
they tried so hard to the point of that the cartoon just kind of makes them magically shapeshift instead of actually transform.
Exactly. People complain about Beast Wars being bad, but at least they actually got the transformation done.
Yeah, and Beast Wars ends up doing really good because they focused on the facial expressions. They do really good at facial expressions. Because that was one of the first full CGI shows. They did that real well for that.
They definitely did a hell of a lot better than they did in Beast Machines. That's for sure.
They did it a lot better. Even Beast Machines, in terms of animation, did it a lot better. Both Beast Wars and Beast Machines did a lot better of animation. Because I've not fully finished it. I think I'm on Energon of the Unicron trilogy still. And everything there is just so stiff. It feels like you're literally just moving the action figure's arms forward and backward.
Yeah.
So that's like what? Probably like 10. Not quite 10. Probably like 5 or something like that years later. 5 years later, and it went that much down.
Yeah, exactly.
Beast Machines may not... Well, Beast Wars and Beast Machines in terms of animation may not be the best animation you've ever seen, but consider the time period. The story of Beast Machines, though, they really needed to do another take at looking at that and probably realize, oh, this doesn't make sense. And also the designs of, oh, we've really made it so that we can't make them actually transform. Okay, Chop. He is packaged together with Mirage.
Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Clearly you can tell that they're using the shrapnel version.
Of course.
He also seems to have new legs.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah. He has new legs. I don't think he has the legs that Shrapnel originally came with. But yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I know that... So... I'm trying to remember his name. Oh. Ransack, one of the other guys that was part of these deluxe Insecticons. They did him. And they did him from Kickback. So...
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, so the only one we're missing of the 4 is a guy called Venom.
Venom.
And I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Are they going to... I want to know if they're making a whole brand new mold or doing what they did with these guys and using the standard Insecticons as a base.
I think the latter may be true.
Probably. Yeah. I will say, the deluxe Insecticons will bring a lot of variety of color to the standard Insecticons.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they have the different colors from each other, at least for the deluxe class Insecticons.
For the deluxe Insecticons from the original thing, I'm not certain. Maybe that was just what they ended up managing to get made. And so they just ran with it.
I mean, I guess, but if you look back to the originals, all the Insecticons had the same colors.
Yeah, the weird thing with that is, I'll double check, but I think the deluxe Insecticons and the standard Insecticons of the original toy line, where they both originate, came out at about the same time.
Really?
Yeah,
That's odd.
indeed. So that's why I find that interesting. Let's see. Let's use Bombshell, and let's use Barrage as my testing things while I take a look at this. So the original Bombshell was released in 1985.
Oh.
The original Barrage was also released in 1985. So I do wonder if it just has something to do with it. That was just the color schemes they ended up getting for what were referred to as deluxe Insecticons for the original line. I don't know.
Guess we'll never know then.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is interesting. Either way, the horde grows.
Yeah.
Yeah, next up, we have, I want to double check the name, Gears.
Years, yep.
Yep. Main thing I've seen with this looks like this is a little too far up. Maybe because it kind of does make this look squished.
Yeah, but the overall figure though is almost so accurate.
Yeah.
Admiral too.
Actually, I think I had seen you can open up this flap on his torso.
Okay.
And actually see molding of when they were dealing with, like, the ability chips in the one episode.
The ability. What episode was that?
I don't recall what the actual episode was, but it was the episode where, like, I think it was where, like, I think it was the one where Megatron ended up taking, like, all the Decepticon chips, or it was something like that. Something along the lines of that. I don't recall exactly, but there is, like, a special molded thing that's directly in reference to an episode under this flap.
You the only figure with that reference?
Probably. Then again, I don't think whenever we see the rest of them have the chips removed, they ever show where it's from. So, yeah. Yeah, I will say they are starting to reference more and more just one-off episode things. I recall Beachcomber, when they revealed him, he comes with a parrot. Because of, like, one episode where he got to be around a lot of animals. Yeah. So we have Gears. We have Hound.
Ooh.
With painted window.
Oh, that's nice.
And no clear plastic. He's part of a 5-pack. And as far as we know, the only way to grab Earth Mode Generation 1 Hound, if you dare want him right now, for the collection of guys in the scale for the recent Fall of Cybertron toy line and Legacy line.
Right.
So that's fun. You have to get 5 guys you have to get 4 extra guys if you just want Hound.
Oh.
So I do hope he's not stuck to just that pack. I do hope at some point they release him individually.
I feel like eventually they would have to.
Yeah.
So honestly, who wants to pay for the further figures that you may not want to just get this one guy?
I don't know. Apparently a number of people... He was originally gonna show up in a Buzzworthy Bumblebee release with a clear plastic insert for his windshield. But then it seems like Target shut down the Buzzworthy Bumblebee things. Subline, so then he was in limbo for a while. So I don't know that we're gonna see him anytime soon, outside of this 5-pack. But I do hope eventually he gets to show up again.
Yeah.
Another part of that 5-pack is the Studio Series Jazz figure with no clear plastic, and looking even more like the Generation 1 show.
Yeah.
Then we have... Oh, this one's... I need to look up the... I need to check the name for it. Malleus Minotaurus.
Yeah.
And...
Is it a he or a she?
We don't have a... I don't think we have a statement on that.
Okay. Oh, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of those Lego robots from that one Lego set line.
I think I vaguely know... I think I know somewhat what you're talking about, but I'm not certain entirely what it is. I think I know what it is. I think I somewhat know, but I can't recall exactly. Let's double...
Let's see. I see it now. From a Lego set series called the Exo Force, which was based off of an anime show.
Yeah. The funny thing is, this is a recolor of a guy that's mainly red with some gray, and actually comes with the 2 Insecticons.
Interesting.
And he becomes a hammer. And interestingly, I have seen people note that this is apparently the symbol of Solus Prime.
Solus Prime? Who's that?
One of the 13.
Oh. Oh.
Which, it is interesting that, as I had noted to you, there was leaked listings of that. That might be where we go after Legacy United. And that would imply that might make sense. It could also be a reference to it being a hammer, and the Forge of Solus Prime, which is a hammer from the Prime show. Either way, it is kind of interesting that they're just pulling that symbol of one of the 13 primes seemingly out of thin air for a random character that didn't exist before to be put in alongside some Insecticons.
Exactly. Also, I'm sending you the image right now on Discord.
That is very similar.
I mean, yeah, because like the feet, the arms, even the chest looks eerily similar to these robots.
It
They're
does.
not always silver. Sometimes they're brown, and there's only one gold one.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Would
definitely.
look.
It definitely looks
Go ahead.
very similar. The fun thing is, I happen to know the original mold of this one as well, where it's mostly red, but it does look very similar in both of them being this gray color.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it clicked in my head.
I was thinking you were referring to whatever the one with the crystals, with the miners and the crystals was.
Oh, well.
Because I couldn't remember what that was called. Just because I vaguely thought that you could be referring to like maybe one of the mech suits that would be there, but it wasn't sure.
Oh, no.
But yeah. We have Omega Prime, another part of the HasLab. Actually, what should be all of the HasLab combined together.
It looks very Gundam-ish, don't you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. The 2001 Robots in Disguise show and potentially Toy Line, I think both originated from Japan. So that would make sense.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, because I think they're released in 2000. So that would make a lot of sense for it to be a lot more anime inspired than necessarily your standard Transformers.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, here we have the Optimus Prime that's part of this.
Oh. Yeah.
He becomes a fire truck.
Well, anytime we see a fire truck in Left 4 Dead, we're gonna say, yeah, like, Omega Optimus now.
No, I had just ended up making. I think you're referring to when I jokingly mentioned Generation 2 Optimus, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I think, and then I think this is supposed to be a super form or something of him combined with like the back of the fire engine. That becomes like a base. Otherwise.
Now he looks like one of the Megazords from Power Rangers. Like the one from Lightspeed Rescue, I think it was called. You would have to watch it or look it up to see what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm just spouting nonsense.
I do find it interesting that this definitely doesn't feel like the same. It is interesting how each Transformers show usually tends to have its own distinct styling.
Yeah.
And I think this is where they most got towards maybe. I think this might have been when they most got towards more Gundam stuff than Transformers, because it might have been a thing of, yes, giant robots. We know what giant robots look like. Next up, these two. These two got given names, and I'll give more context as to why I mentioned that much later.
What even are they?
So, these two are given the names of Ozone and Clean Sweep.
One is which, though?
I'm not certain. Because they did not exist before this set, and they are supposed to represent something else on the character. So, but since they're using a mold that was a double target master, they decided to give them names anyway.
Oh.
They come in the 2-pack with breakdown in it, and I'll get into more detail about these guys later. But you should know Sandstorm.
That's like such a huge backpack.
He does, however, admittedly, he's the guy that becomes a helicopter and a dune buggy.
Okay, I remember the dune buggy.
Yeah,
Don't remember turning into a helicopter.
He's a triple changer that, and you can see why. I can see why he has such a big backpack.
Now I can, yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of difficult to make that actually work without it just being a lot of it just hanging out.
I mean, it's better than, Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, where he has, huge-ass legs and, a body.
Yeah.
Like, little arms.
Yeah. I will say, his legs seem a little skinny, but his feet really make it very clear to the point, just because of how big they made his feet. If that wasn't there, this wouldn't quite look as skinny visually. But with that there, you can definitely see how skinny that feels.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that he, in the cartoon, actually has a mouth, but the designer actually went ahead with the toy, and took mainly the cartoon's head design, but gave it the faceplate of the toy, of the original toy.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
I'm not certain either. I think it might have been, in that case, a little bit of designer preference. I think the designer kind of likes likes designs with faceplates more than just faces.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. It just is a little weird when everything else is apparently based more directly off of the show. Yeah. Has helicopter mode with a little rescue thing. And a dune buggy. That admittedly it looks a little weird as a dune buggy to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But again, he is a triple changer. You kind of have different willingness to be able to accept something looking weird with a triple changer with what they have to do. They have to go between all three forms.
Yeah.
Yes. The War for Cybertron game version of Sideswipe.
Red in that game?
Yeah, Sideswipe is red in the War for Cybertron game. Because the War for Cybertron game, I think, ended up kind of being based on Generation 1 designs, but with the I think the term is all the like more greeblings of the Michael Bay live action films, and they also made every single character overly buff usually.
That vehicle mode makes him look so small, though, but
It kind of does.
like he looks like a Hot Wheels car. That's looks like.
It'd probably look better if he wasn't just in a void.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a void, I can see what you're talking about. He does seem really small. Let's see. Silverbolt!
There's a re-release.
It's not a re-release. This is the legacy. This is the legacy version, which is a whole new mold.
I feel like he's been out for a while, though. I feel like I've seen this version before.
You might have, however, that's because he is very similar. I might have forgotten and shown you him before because he technically got revealed a lot earlier.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah, but it also is. He does seem to have a lot of this. He seems like he's kind of a very directly updated version of the original figure, so that might also be why.
Okay.
So it might be those two factors together that kind of are causing that. But yeah, it looks good. He does kind of have the tiny back leg, a bit of a tiny back legs and enormous front legs thing going on.
I feel like it was the same way in the show, though.
I think it might have been, and I think it was kind of due to how they had originally designed the old toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it makes sense, it just does feel a little weird when they might have been able to do something with it. with modern engineering.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah. It still looks good, it just is just something that I'm kind of like, that is a little weird now that we have more modern engineering. Yeah. We have Sunstreaker.
Oh,
He's part of that 5-pack.
okay.
Yet again, no clear plastic, painted windows. A lot of the black is now more of a charcoal gray. Yeah, the weird thing with the 5-pack is it's a select release. It's part of the Generation Selects grouping of characters. And yet it seems to be even more cartoon-based versions of Generation 1 characters. Which I feel is a little counter to the original point of the Selects line. We have Trailbreaker, another member of that 5-pack. Same thing, no clear plastic, painted windows. I feel like maybe part of why they made the Selects pack is because there is a tendency of that people can have, if that, since transparent plastic is a bit more brittle, is more likely to break. and people have been saying about just not using clear plastic a lot, so they may have done this set in some other releases specifically for that reasoning. But it is still weird. It is still weird that it's one of the things we know that Selects is gonna do.
I mean, I kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like it, I kind of don't, because when I was starting my current collection, I had seen a couple of the ones that end up having the painted windows for Generation 1 based guys. And I questioned, are they going to do a lot of this, or are they not going to? Especially since the clear plastic guys and the painted plastic, and the clear plastic guys and the painted window guys wouldn't necessarily all fit together the best visually. I eventually ended up deciding, okay, it doesn't look like they're going to do a focus on the painted windows, so now I have a massive collection of Generation 1 guys with clear plastic, and I don't feel like having to replace them all. Especially when the only way to get Earthhound is this set, it seems, at the moment. Yeah. I mean, they look good. It just is kind of frustrating that it's like, I had questioned about this beforehand and had gotten an answer of probably they wouldn't do this. And then now they're doing this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ultra Magnus from the HasLab.
Another Gundam set.
Yeah, his legs. Here's where his torso is, and then here's just his legs.
We have like a Revenge of the Fallen Megatron situation here.
I understand some people have long legs. I'm pretty sure I do. But my torso isn't squashed that much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just almost all legs.
Yeah, exactly.
All legs and forearms.
His arms look like Popeye's arms.
He must have been eating too much spinach.
Yeah. I'm Magnus, the Sailor Man.
He's Magnus, the Sailor Man.
He'll finish at the end. He'll be there for the finish, cause I eat my spinach. Yeah, I'm Magnus, the Sailor Man.
Here's his vehicle mode, which actually inspired the War for Cybertron Siege, Ultra Magnus's vehicle mode. Which is interesting. Yeah, as you can see, Blue Bolts is supposed to be a gun specifically for him. Yeah, look at how tiny his head feels compared to his enormous legs.
Oh.
And his hands.
Like his arms and legs look like they detach from each other. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he stole someone else's legs and arms. Specifically the other person's forearms. He seems to have the right upper arms, but he stole someone else's forearms.
Yeah.
And just cut off the hands and replaced them with his own. We have Wheeljack for the 5-pack.
Okay.
Painted windshield, same thing as everyone else from the 5-pack. We have Origins Wheeljack, where he becomes the little Cybertronian thing that he becomes at the beginning of the first episode.
What is up with that bumper though? But it looks like he has an entire cassette player on there, or a cassette tape.
I think what's going on is these are sort of supposed to represent the fans that blow away Hot Link's firewall that he had made around him and Bumblebee, but they just molded them to just always be there. So it kind of just does stick out a little bit of that's just there always. Because I think he did have like this very rectangular bumper in the show. He just didn't always have the little fan things out.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently you can actually fit the Origins Bumblebee in the back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think you need to slightly untransform the sides, but you can fit him back there, and I think you can fit him back there with all the fuel rods that Origins Bumblebee came with.
Interesting.
Which is why, even though I think he stands just as tall as this Wheeljack, which is a deluxe, this is a Voyager. It also probably explains how much of a backpack he has, that they wanted to fit that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is neat. I will grab it. I need to complete the set of Jazz, Bumblebee, Wheeljack, and hopefully more.
Oh.
Though I think the only two types of figures we have left that we've seen confirmed Cybertronian modes from that episode of are Soundwave and the Seekers. Let's see. Next up. Windsweeper. And this is where I said I'd get back to Ozone and Clean Sweep. So Windsweeper here, they gave him a new head, but they basically just used a guy called Needlenose's mold. And as a part of his mold, you have these two target masters.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so Windsweeper is one of the trigger cons. Also, Windsweeper is packed together with Breakdown.
Okay.
And his trigger con gimmick was that he would have these two giant guns fold out from underneath the wings of his jet mode.
Right.
So they're effectively doing that, and that's their purpose for why. That's kind of what. So that's kind of what's going on with Ozone and Clean Sweeper. It's just very weird that they gave them names and don't just market them as just the big guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, admittedly, I think his original vehicle mode was a bit wider in its wings and not as skinny. Well, I think in general it was a bit wider. Windsweeper's original vehicle mode. But this doesn't seem like it's a bad reinterpretation of it. It just feels a little skinny.
I agree.
Yeah. So that is the end of this list that I've managed to gather.
Oh, that was it. I thought there would be more.
There's more things kind of just floating around, but we don't. There's one that I know that's floating around that we found in stores, but we don't have any stock images for, and then we have some that are floating around that we haven't found in stores. But yeah, this is what I currently have gathered. Let's see. I think we can agree this is the worst one on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just. It's literally Beast McDonald's Cheetor and not even really Beast Machine's Cheetor.
Exactly.
As for who I'm most excited for, there's a lot of options this time around. I think I'm gonna go with the Wheeljack. Even though a lot of these guys I am excited to see, I'm gonna go with the Wheeljack. What about you?
I think I have to go with like Hound, honestly. Yeah. Like I'm at least gonna wait until he's like to the point where you buy him separately from the other guys, so you don't have to like pay a list amount for him.
Yeah, because I think it's like 110 for all 5 of the deluxes. Just because you want an Earthhound, or you're one of the people that would prefer just painted windshield instead of clear plastic.
I mean, I would take a paint build over like plastic one any day.
Yeah, because if I didn't already have a giant collection of guys that all already have clear plastic windshields, I probably would be more excited for this multi-pack. But unfortunately, I already have such a big collection of them. I don't feel like having to reset and try and fill everyone back in.
Right.
Yeah. Which is more of a personal reason of being somewhat disappointed in that this is the way they've gone about releasing him at the moment.
Right.
I will say, I'm at least with Hound, I'm pretty sure this windshield is a separate piece from the rest of this piece here.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's an insert. So it's one of the cases where they actually do a clear plastic thing that isn't going to like break or anything, most likely, from like stresses of trying to transform it. Yeah. worst case, technically, if I encountered this somehow for a decent price, if I also found like a detritus or something that I could just end up taking the windshield of, I could just replace the windshield.
You could, yeah.
The only thing would be then I have detritus just kind of sitting around. Well, an extra detritus than the one I would already have in my collection. But yeah. Yeah, I do hope we get an individual release of him. I just suspect with individual releases, you will get a clear plastic windshield.
Yeah.
Which would work for the purposes of my collection, but I could see people that would prefer a painted one being disappointed by that.
Yep.
Yeah. If you want, I could send you like a whole list of the guys that I know have painted windshield versions.
That's fine.
Because admittedly, I don't think it's a ton of them at the moment.
No.
Yeah, I think it's those 5. I think there is 1 or 2 of the combiners that make up Menasor that are like that. But it's also kind of one of the things of you need to make it transform into Menasor.
Okay.
So that does kind of make it a little difficult to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other ones that I can think of are Cup, Cliff Jumper, and then actually the dead Cliff Jumper, not dead Cliff Jumper, dead Ironhide and Crow are the ones I can think of that have painted windows instead of clear plastic ones. So like 2 guys that are specifically to portray them as dead, 2 living guys, and this 5-pack. So yeah, that's the other thing with why I decided just to go with the clear plastic collection, because these come out a lot slower, or at least they had been. Maybe this means there'll be an uptake, and maybe Selects will do a bunch of painted Windows ones. We'll find out.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of see why I kind of went. I don't know that they do a bunch of the painted Windows ones when we had like 2. Yeah. Any last things to comment on other than I was half tempted before I recalled that the Cheetor was in here to give these, like, the bad thing of that they ended up getting their own names when it was really unnecessary. But then I remembered this was a thing. Then I remembered, right, we have the McDonald's figure that's supposed to be mainline core. Class. You got anything else to say?
No, I think we said everything we wanted to say.
Okay. I guess I'll see everyone next time. Hopefully they actually reveal the upcoming waves soon.
Yes.